Hey everyone, welcome to A Great Alternative. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I made this Viking themed shillelagh club. Up front, I just want to say this is not a historical reconstruction. It's more like a themed prop because I've been watching a lot of prop making channels recently and prop making videos, and I've just felt inspired to go make something that has a bit of character and a bit of story behind it, but not necessarily something that is a representation of what it would be, or it's not a specific prop from a specific film. This is just something totally fabricated for the purpose of having fun, making a thing, being creative. So with that in mind, for this project, I wanted to accomplish two main things. Firstly, I wanted to practice wrapping. So like different types of wrap, different types of knot, how to wrap different materials without the need of something like a glue, for example. Also, I wanted to use a pyrography tool. Never used one before, and I think again, because of using runes and doing something that's kind of Viking themed, it just felt like, yeah, this would be a perfect opportunity to have a go with a pyrography tool. And overall, like I mentioned, I just want to give it a bit of character, basically something that has a bit of storyline and something that within this mythical world that this prop would make sense and also mean something to me. So first up, harvesting. I harvested this during December, January time. And where it was harvested is from hedgerows. So specifically hedgerows that have been cut by the farmer each year. And then because they're being cut each year, then growing back, quick side note, also a perfect place to get lovely long shoots if you wanted to use some basket weaving stuff. I've done that, other videos, go check them out if you're interested. But what happens is when you cut all those bits back that have only had a year's growth, you kind of get this root ball that appears at the top of the hedge. And it's just this knobbly, gnarly, wonderful looking thing that is just perfect for a project like this. When I was out trying to forage things over winter time, I just was looking for things that were just interesting and kind of inspiring. This stood out to me. In this specific example, I wasn't sure exactly what it was. I'm pretty sure it was either oak, hazel or rowan. Now that's quite different, and sometimes the bark's clearly different between those three. However, in this example, they weren't. So therefore I went back a few months later in springtime when things had started to grow, and then I could ID them because I understood the plants, and I'm pretty sure this was rowan. So I don't often cut things off, but here I made a small exception because the plant itself wouldn't suffer too much as it's surrounded by other shoots and will grow back absolutely fine. I've also used this for the main one that I made in my journey into wand making video, using a slightly smaller piece, which I harvested at the same time as what I'm using for today's project. Although this one is a little beefier. I knew I wanted to make something similar to a shillelagh club, although again it's not a totally accurate representation as normally shillelaghs are made from blackthorn or oak. Plus I think the root ball from the bottom of the plant or from a side branch would be what is generally used for the top end of the club or walking stick. If you want to learn more about shillelagh clubs, I've got a lot of information from Francis McCaffrey's channel. There's some great stuff on there that covers all aspects of shillelagh making, from harvesting, drying, how to make it, and then also obviously some end results. This stick has only been drying in the shed for about 6 months. If it was oak or blackthorn, it should probably be longer, sometimes up to 3 years. But as I just couldn't wait, I decided to use this stick now. Plus, I plan to deliberately use sticks that haven't dried fully for a few of these projects that I'm doing, and then I want to try out using epoxy resin or something similar to fill in the cracked gaps that will inevitably happen, because it might end up making it kind of look even more magical and giving a bit more character to a prop like this.
Ah, it's so cool!
Next up, carving. As I knew I'd be inside for the bulk of this project, I decided to head outside for the first part. Sat in the woods with Echo, carving off any material I didn't want on the root ball, along with sections of the handle. Because of the awkward shape of the head, this was pretty fiddly. One big piece of advice I would give, because I had to tell myself off a couple of times for doing this exact thing, is that if you feel you're putting too much force into the knife, or if you feel you start to get fatigued, don't just push through. Just stop, go back to carving in a more gentle way or a way that you have more control. If not, this is a surefire way to cut yourself, and just take my word for it, because I have had many cuts from doing that exact thing. You've been warned. This was also a good time to figure out the orientation of the stick and how it would be held, which then helped me to plan where I would place designs, handle, stuff like that. As this took a few hours, I ended up having to go home from a dinner and then afterwards finishing the carving off, which was to cut a defined edge into the handle and then finish gouging out any material from the head. With that complete, it was time to move on to the handle. As you may know, I've been doing a video series on making cordage from forage fibres. And within this, I've made cordage from a range of different materials. However, with the fibres I've used so far, I feel my handle wrapping skills need work. For example, in the recent video I did where I made a druid themed walking stick for my dad, although I used what I thought was dry cordage to wrap the handle, it got left in a boiling hot car and dried out further, loosening the wrap. I was able to fix it by twisting it back around tighter, but ideally I want to have wraps that I'm more certain won't come loose, while still using mostly, if not all, natural materials and techniques that don't use shop-bought glue. I've thought about using natural glues like pine resin, but as I don't see it very often, I've got such a small amount and I just felt it wouldn't work for this particular project. Maybe though for something in the future. Therefore, I needed to think of something else. Echo, come here, come here, quick, hey. She's not listening to me. Echo, come here, come here, come here. As it turns out, I've been brushing this floofy dog for months now and thinking I could use that for something. So I've been saving this fur that comes off Echo, yes, the fluffy one, who is a husky cross German Shepherd. And I've been saving her fur because I'm planning on felting it and maybe making kind of like a wizard's hat. So it just so happened that I had a couple of boxfuls. Which I also now know that when you're storing fur, you should put it in something that has a lot of airflow. I stuck it in old like plastic tubs without any airflow and it made it a little bit kind of musky. So if you are going to store it, bag or plastic tub, whatever, make sure it's got holes in it. That's what I've learned. So I decided to do a quick search on YouTube to see if anyone else has done cordage from dog fur. There was quite a few videos on how to spin your dog fur, which was a definite no straight away for me because I am rubbish at spinning, and also I don't have a drop spindle or anything like that, so I couldn't do that on this project. But I found one awesome video that clearly answered the question, can I make cordage from dog's fur? So therefore, feeling empowered, I turned this into this. Nope. To make dog fur cordage, first of all, grab a bunch of fur. The clumps straight from the brush work well because they've kind of like they've been carded already. Split to the desired diameter, twist until it turns in on itself, then follow the twist over method. And when attaching a new piece, lie on top of a thinning piece of cordage, twist them together and continue. I will be doing a more detailed tutorial of varying ways I've made cordage with Echo's fur in the cordage series. So if you're interested in that, please hit the subscribe along with the bell notification so that you can catch that when it comes out. After a quick test using a simple wrap, basically a basic knot at each end, I was really pleased with how well it grips onto the wood and doesn't pull away. Plus, as this isn't a woody fibre, it shouldn't have the problem where it could shrink as it dries. Perfect! I knew that I wanted to try out some other materials on the handle that would be a bit more decorative, so I went through all the other bits that I had lying around to see what colours worked well, and alongside the bark, what I liked. Plus, I did a quick aging test on some of the leather as I planned to age the shillelagh after making it. After deciding on the materials that I liked, I experimented with 2 different styles of wrapping, testing how they feel and how strong they held. With help from another YouTuber, Campfire Kodiak, I used the constrictor knot to tie the cordage at the top, wrap all the way down, twisting on the handle until it's so tight you can't twist anymore, then finishing off with another constrictor knot. Then, as the rest of the wrap would be a finishing touch, I decided to move on to burning. First up though, what to write? After all the research, I decided to write horizontally, and thinking back to what's the story behind this club, it had to tie in with the cordage that I'd made from Echo's fur. So I imagine this Viking character, like myself, who was journeying through the mountains with his wolf companion, so the club would kind of pay homage to that, while still not being too serious, because this is still a club made for fun, for me, just because I can. Therefore, the things that I chose to write on the stick are Journey to the Wolf Mountain, and then Echo, and then Dog Dog, and then the Floofy One, because that's her mythical name, the Floofy One. And then at the top, in younger Futhark, because I quite liked the way it looked, I just put Jason and Alicia. And then to finish off, there's a few that mean either strength, there's one here at the top and one at the bottom, and then a kind of bind rune, which is a number of runes together. And this one at the top is one that I found on Pinterest that I not only like the shape, but I quite like the message behind it. Having never used a pyrography tool or done any kind of wood burning before, I took it slow, making sure the room was well ventilated. However, I do love the smell of burning wood, so I didn't mind that too much. After a good few hours, I had finished the burns, but realised that now would be a good time to finish sanding. With that done, time to finish wrapping. First up, I'd made some thinner dog fur cordage and added a simple knot to the top. This time using a knot I'd learned from Dennis Nolan of Ozark Arts and Crafts, where you tie a simple overhand knot, turn it around and tie the same knot. And then you just continue that until you've done however much you want to. Mine looked a bit of a mess while doing this, so if you want to learn how to do that, go check out Dennis's walking stick videos. He does a load of different sticks and he uses that knot in a lot of the videos. Plus they're great if you're looking to make some walking sticks and you just want to learn some more like myself. After going through all that leather, I'd picked what I liked. However, I only had 2 strips of that. So I decided I needed something else. Again, I don't hardly ever cut down trees. I chose this tree for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it's surrounded by other farmed spruce trees that I know are going to be cut down soon, and when that happens, a younger tree like this would probably be scrapped or just destroyed within that process. And then secondly, I will use it for multiple future projects, including this one, which I didn't even plan on. To connect these to the stick, the only thing that I, and by I mean Alicia, used was a little thumbtack, one of the little pin tack things. I do think that something like a furniture tack would probably work better, but I don't have those right now. I'm probably going to get them for a future project, but for now, this would do. The first attempt didn't go so well because I realised that it can't really go all the way through the dog fur, but with some playing around, then adding a plastic, yeah, I know, forgive me, I was able to tie it nice and tight. That's why I used plastic, because I could do a tie. I ended up using the constrictor knot again, and by tying that really tight, the plastic will hold in things much tighter than a natural cordage would, I think. After that, one of my favourite parts, waxing, which I love because you can just get right in there and kind of get right in the knot and you wrap it all over your hands and it's just nice for your hands. Again, I will mention I'm using a almond oil and beeswax wax that I've got from Journeyman Handcrafts. So it's food safe and I'm allowed to get it all on my hands. I still probably end up washing my hands if I was to go do something soon after, but that's more because depending on how much you get, it's a bit tacky. So you don't want to go touching things because they'll all be all kind of greasy feeling. Then, that was it. So, what do you think? Oh, I could have hit myself with it there. I'm not good at that. Way. I'm really pleased with how the dog fur cordage came out. Like the fact that it's echo, it kind of obviously means something to me and it's so strong. I can't wait to have a go. I'm gonna have a go at like maybe hanging myself from it on just like one bit of cordage. But anyway, aside from that, also I love how the wood burning came out. It's something that not only does, it smells so good, but it looks cool. And I was really surprised at how much it stands out over the top of the bark, because I was quite worried. I thought I was gonna have to carve off the bark, but no, yeah, I quite like it. Please, let me know what you guys think. Or even more importantly, let me know what maybe you think I could have done differently, or maybe if there was a different way of doing one of these methods that you have tried yourself. Also, if you like this video and other videos, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit the like button, share it with friends. It really helps these videos get out to other people who hopefully can kind of learn or maybe get inspired to do their own projects. But what else should I do? I did do a little bit of aging. So originally I'd planned to do some aging. I was thinking that I was going to take this into the woods and like bash it on things, maybe even bash it over like berries, like rowan berries or something, especially as it's made of rowan, and give a kind of bloody, like messy top to it. But because I don't feel confident in doing a lot of the other aging things, because this is literally the first time I'd attempted any kind of aging, I thought I'll just leave that for another project, because I am one for getting kind of overwhelmed or getting kind of putting too much onto one project and thinking, oh, I've got to try that and that and that and that. So with this, I just thought, no, a little bit of sanding and aging on the leather, but other than that, I just kind of left it and I'm pretty pleased. So if you like this video and you haven't seen this other one, you might be interested in my journey into wand making video, where the main wand that I made in that video came from the same bush as this. It was just basically a much smaller version, and also, unlike this one, it kind of molded around my hand and just became a really cool looking wand. So if you like this video, you'll definitely love that one. Otherwise, thanks again everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.